Aargau Topsport und Tele1 präsentieren die 21. Ausgabe vom Baden Masters vom 20. bis zum 22. August. Die amtierende Olympiasiegerin bei den Damen, Anna Hasselborg aus Schweden, fordert die Herren-Welteliten raus. Das hat es noch nie gegeben. Können die amtierenden Herren-Weltmeister aus Schweden ihren Titel verteidigen? Wie halten die Schweizer Top-Teams mit? Girling-Weltklasse der Damen und der Herren direkt vor der Haustür. Das Baden Masters wird präsentiert vom Swisslo Sportfonds Aargau, V-Zug, dem Schweizer Haushaltsgerätehersteller und der Walde Immobilien AG, die Mensch und Immobilien zusammenbringen.
Good afternoon, curling world. My name is Lorna Rettig, and you join us here at the final of the first WCT event of the season here in Europe. We are in Baden for the 2021 edition of the Baden Masters, and here in our final game of this competition, we had a lot of foreign teams making the journey to play in this competition, but it's all come down to two Swiss teams. Two pretty familiar teams out there. These are the top two men's teams in Switzerland at the moment, really, although there's a bunch of teams knocking on that door. But we have two very familiar teams in our final. Team Peter de Cruz playing Team Yannick Schwaller. Team de Cruz, they are playing red stones and they have the hammer in this first end. Team Schwaller are playing yellow stones. And looks like they've just got a nice stone around that centre guard. Welcome, welcome to the chat. Let us know how you're doing. Say hi. Let us know who you're cheering for, what you're looking forward to. We welcome all inputs to make it fun to all watch together. So there we are. We can see we're just in the first few stones of this first end of the final of the Baden Masters 2021 edition. Everyone's in black out there, so don't get confused with the uniforms. De Cruz is playing red stones and Schwaller is playing yellow. And De Cruz with hammer in this first end. And they've got a bit of company out there. Sometimes it can be a bit lonely playing a final, but they've got a bit of company out there. Team Anna Hasselborg, they have been one of our two special guest ladies teams who kindly agreed to fill up the roster when a couple of teams were not able to travel at the last minute, and we've had a lot of fun watching Anna's team and also Irene Schori's team, one of the top Swiss ladies teams. Anna's team not qualifying for the semi-finals this morning, but they've been making the best use of their time here in Switzerland. That's why they're champions. No brunch for them. They wanted to get back on ice and have some practice, and this morning on the static cam we watched them have a skins game against the Norwegians, Nedregotten, and this afternoon they want to have another practice and they're having a friendly game. I think it's a friendly. I don't think this is a skins game, but they're having a friendly game against one of our losing semi-finalists from this morning, and that is Team Walstad. So we can keep an eye on that if you want to watch Anna's team playing Stefan Walstad's team. You can watch that on the static cam. That's on the other live stream just now. And we'll be keeping an eye on that as well as we watch the final for the trophy between De Cruz and Schwaller. We will have a new champion this year. Last year's champion was Team Niklas Edin. And that went all the way to an extra end this morning. They were playing against Yannick Schwaller. It was a really fascinating game to watch. If you didn't see it, I highly recommend going to the video tab on this channel, WCT TV. Go and look in the video tab. Look out the semi-final between Yannick Schwaller and Niklas Edin, and you will see a fabulous game of curling. But Schwaller running out the winner of that one. They make it to the final. And on the other semi-final this morning, and that was on the static cam, we had Team Peter de Cruz, and they just kind of steadily defeated Team Walstad. They were just always about 1 point ahead in that game, and they just seemed to be a little bit more on top of it. So that's how we got here. We started off with 20 teams on Friday morning, 4 groups of 5 teams. The top 8 teams qualified for the quarterfinals yesterday evening. That was another fun session. You will also find that in the video archive on this channel. And our semi-finalists this morning were Schwaller defeated Niklas Edin and de Cruz defeated Stefan Walstad. Both excellent games though. We had a great time watching Schwaller playing Edin. And de Cruz's game, that went all the way to the last stone as well. Needing Bannwart Schwartz to draw the pin. And it being Bannwart Schwartz, he drew the pin for the game. But here in this first end, Schwaller's having a bright start. Junking up the middle and forcing de Cruz to do something about it. Doesn't want to let de Cruz start building stones here. De Cruz with the last stone. Ooh. That was nearly a disastrous result if that red had hung on. Ah no, sorry, my mistake. That was Sven's stone, in which case this is a delightful shot. Apologies, Sven. But Schwaller's team also not afraid of a big hit. Michael Brunner putting plenty of beans on that. But only one stone in play. I imagine we will exchange hits on this until we run out of stones in this first end. De Cruz will be quite happy to hang on to hammer for the second end. But for now, Yannick Schwaller gets a nice practice draw. Always handy to keep on top of your tee weight. We always say it, that's what gets you out of trouble. Yannick had to draw to the 4 foot in the extra end for the game against Edin, which she did, and Bannwart Schwartz had to draw to the pin in the 8th end to defeat Stefan Walstad, which he did. So always good for Skip to have a bit of a free throw here. You can just look at the line, make sure the weight's there. Sweepers are standing off it, so it looks like this has got all the weight by itself. It's going to pass beyond tee, but won't change what Peter de Cruz is doing. He just wants to remove this, please. So first stone in this first end of the final for 4th thrower Bannwart Schwartz. We'll say hello to the teams in just a minute. Bannwart looking a little bit fluffy out there. But no mistake there. He doesn't want to give Yannick another shot at making a nice practice T-line weight, so he likes that red hanging around. And Yannick will want to play basically the same again. He'll want to knock that red out. I think he'll probably want to stick with his yellow and again force Bannwart to play something. Don't give Bannwart the opportunity to just throw his final shot through and hang on to last stone easily. And our spontaneous friendly game over on sheet 4, that's underway as well in the first end. If you've been supporting Anna Hasselborg's team this weekend, and I think we all have, you can keep an eye on them. They're having a practice friendly game against Stefan Walstad's team. We've also had a very successful weekend. 100% there for Yannick Schwaller. Indeed, he wants to leave that yellow shot lying around. That's the only chance he has that Bannwart Schwartz will make a mistake and maybe hit and stick, which he doesn't want to do. But stranger things have happened. So last shot on this first end. And no trouble there. Big weight, make sure that stone rolls out. And we have a blank.
Okay.
So, as you were then, we can say hi to our superfans in the chat. If you're just joining us, welcome, welcome. We are watching the final here at the Baden Masters. That's the first of the WCT tournaments this year here in Europe. We started off with 20 teams on Friday morning, and now we're down to the final 2. We had lots of foreign teams travelling for the competition this year. Thank you to all of our foreign visitors for making the effort to support the competition. We all really enjoy seeing that, all kinds of different countries competing and watching different matchups that we don't always get to see, including this year. We had 2 guest ladies teams who very kindly agreed to fill in at the last minute when a couple of the men's teams were not able to travel due to coronavirus situation. Let's see. So let's say hi in the chat. We've got our superfan Michaela. She's hoping for a good game. Questions up early in the morning. Clock Bashers watching as well. All these folks were able to join us in the semi-final also. We had a really fun time watching that this morning. Bob in Canada has had a morning nap. Good job, Bob. He was up very early in Canada to support the semi-finals. And looks like some kind of Cyrillic text. Maybe that's Russian, who is a Schwaller fan. They were also watching the semi-final. Happy to see Schwaller make this final. Michaela, a bit sad that Team Edin didn't make this final this time. They were our champions last year, Team Edin. So we will have a new champion either way. But actually both of these teams have had the trophy before. All 8 players out there actually have lifted this trophy before, but not necessarily in this constellation. Team Yannick Schwaller, they won this competition in 2019, 2 years ago, and it was those 4 players. Team Peter de Cruz, they won this competition in 2016, and it was Claudio Petz who was 3rd player in that Olympic cycle. He decided to take a bit of time out after the last Olympic cycle. And they now have Sven Michael throwing 3rd. And Sven Michael, in his previous incarnation, Team Sven Michael, Sven also a very experienced skip. They won this competition back-to-back in 2011 and 2012. So we will have a new champion compared with last year, but all 8 of these players have got their hands on this trophy before and will be eager to do so again. They will also get a nice payday. There's a nice big prize money for this competition thanks to the generosity of our sponsors. And they won't be thinking of that just now, but the runner-up in this game, they will get a cheque for 8,000 Swiss francs, and the winners, they will get a cheque for 12,000 Swiss francs. And that can really help your team with their expenses over the season for travelling to competitions and accommodation and so on. But I don't think that will bother either of these teams. They certainly won't be thinking of that. They will much rather get their hands on that trophy and get the win out there. So Michaela asked how was lunch. It was very nice, thank you, Michaela. I got to sit with Team Edin, which was lovely.
Wow, wow, attends Sven. Oui. Ouais. Ouais. Oui. 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 Vraiment fort Sven.
You're always very well looked after here in Baden. We have a players' lounge where they can all go for lunch and for evening meal as well.
Okay, Pete. Bien joué.
It's all fully catered.
Pas assez de glace. Bah, il a quand même dû être très actif, Mr. Meyer.
The first mistake then from Peter de Cruz's team, they are stone just catching that guard and not connecting. De Cruz does have last stone in this second end, but a chance here for Schwaller's team to put a bit of pressure.
Wichtig 2, Münd noch weg. Gut, sein gut. Handy 2, Handy 2. Bleib geschlankt.
You can see Romano Meyer watching his stone all the way up. That looks like a nice effort from Romano, so this is exactly what Schwaller wants to do. He doesn't want to give Peter de Cruz the chance to boss this end and give them the chance to start building stones. This is exactly Schwaller's plan. He wants to keep play towards the middle. He's got that nice stone in the forefoot and 2 guards out front, but for not much longer. Big weight from Skip and second floor Peter de Cruz.
Okay, whoa. Excuse. Okay.
So cleanly moves one of those, and I guess Yannick Schwaller will persist with putting it back. And he wants to get good separation of the guards. We saw that a lot in their semi-final, Yannick Schwaller against Niklas Edin. We saw how careful the teams were with the placement of those guards, because these big boys, they are really strong at removing multiple guards. And you have to make their life very difficult, so you really try to keep the guards far apart, make the angles difficult so that they can't make a big double takeout and clear out all the guards in one shot. Let's say hi to Fiona from Portugal. That's very cool. I'm not sure we've said hi to anyone watching in Portugal before. Welcome, Fiona. We have Sarah, who's Team de Cruz fan. She says, go Team de Cruz. We have Levin joining us again from down the road in Bern, and he's cheering for Team Schwaller. Let us know who you want to win or what you're looking forward to. Everyone's welcome here in the chat in the virtual club room. It's a very friendly place, don't be shy. And copy-paste there from Yannick Schwaller's team. And now Sven Michael, he will fancy this for a double though. He's got a huge hit on him, Sven. And stand back, everyone. And look at that, he's sprung the whole lot. And Peter de Cruz chasing off into ring 4 to catch one of those stones. Really tidy shot there from Sven. So before and after. Really nice when you can rely on that sort of firepower. But Michael Brunner certainly up to the task. You'll be wanting to use the remaining guard there and replace a stone in the house. This is looking nice. The sweeper's close to it all the way up, just making sure, but I think they've judged that very nicely. Here we are. Exactly behind that yellow guard out front. And I'm not sure if Peter's calling the raise. I think he might be. As I said, Sven, very comfortable hitter, but this is a much bigger distance between the stones than his previous shot. Gives it a little bit extra push at the end. Send it on its way. And he certainly makes contact with both of them. Doesn't quite move all the yellows out of play. But that won't bother Yannick Schwaller. He's still got that centre guard, even though it's now a red stone, and he'll keep wanting to put that pressure on De Cruz. What he doesn't want is to give De Cruz a chance to start building points and leaving red stones lying around, and that's exactly what he's managed to do. If he gets a nice second yellow in there, the chance is not looking great for Peter De Cruz to somehow get 2 points out of this end. Hello, Mads Norgard. Greetings to you. Are you in Denmark just now? Well, I know Denmark was maybe hoping to come here, but maybe next time, the Danish team.
Schön euch am Vorne. Schnutzwied, warte denn! Stay close. Am Schluss halt noch rein.
This one's running on maybe just a little bit on the next stone. But important is that it's buried. So they didn't quite find the line there compared with Mikael's previous stone. But important is that we've got 2 yellow stones in there, making life difficult for Peter De Cruz to try to come up with 2 points here. De Cruz doesn't want to give up 2 points. Sorry, De Cruz doesn't want to give up hammer unless they get 2 points really. So of course that's exactly what Yannick Schwaller is trying to do. He wants Peter De Cruz to absolutely give up the last stone and only score 1 point.
Moi je préfère jouer moins vite, Pete.
Attends, est-ce que tu vas
Je préfère jouer moins vite.
Ah ouais, on peut, bien sûr.
Ouais, je vais juste la pousser ici, on sera shot.
Ouais, exact. Okay. Ouais, exact. Super.
Mads in Denmark says,
ouais, non, je joue un free step.
Yeah, do come join us, Mads, with your Danish team. We had lots of foreign teams this year. We're always happy to see that. Always interesting to play different teams.
Exact.
Do make sure that you're in touch with Hans-Jörg and the organisers. Get your entry in good time for next year. Back then in our featured game, we're in the second end of the final here in Baden. And it's the first throw, first stone of the second end for fourth thrower Bannwart. And looks like a nice gentle weight. He took plenty of ice.
Alors Sven,
vas-y.
Essaye, oui.
They need this red to be hanging around. I guess they just want to push this yellow over T-line, which they certainly have. I'm not sure that helps them too much. Yeah, unfortunately that red is wide open. And exactly what Mikael Brunner just pointed to, there should be a fairly routine shot for Yannick Schwaller. He just wants to punch that red through and then get a little roll towards the centre. There you are. He wants to poke the red through the back and then roll to our left as we're watching. A little roll behind that red centre guard would be very nice, and then that puts pressure immediately on the De Cruz rink here already in the second end. And I tell you what, Yannick Schwaller is up for this game. There will be a repeat of this game for the Olympic qualifier. I think it's in October, November time, I'll have to check. So nice controlled weight. Doesn't get the roll, but that's okay. No triple takeout available. Schwarz is going to have to draw to the 4 foot, whether they got the roll or not. And nice pressure from Schwaller's team, and as I said, yeah, Schwaller is well up for this game. These two teams will play off for the Swiss nomination for next year's Olympics. That's not yet clear who is going. For some countries it is clear. There's already the team that knows they're going, but not yet clear in Switzerland, and there will be a playoff between those two teams out there, Peter De Cruz and Yannick Schwaller. And whoever gets the win today is not only bragging rights, it's very much a confidence boost as well going into that Olympic qualifier. I think that will be a scorcher to watch.
I know this situation.
And you may hear how speechless I am, and there was a big ooh from the club room over there. Well, I think that surprised everyone. Oh yeah, let's Bannwart's turning away there. That's most unusual for him to miss a shot like that.
Pas facile à voir que c'est aussi rapide.
Golly, well, what an unexpected start we've had in this final.
I think we knew that.
Yeah, I think 8 people out there saying, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but very, very unusual. Bannwart's usually absolutely reliable to draw Peter de Cruz's team out of trouble with that last shot.
No chance.
And he must have had too much for lunch or something, and too much beans on that shot. So, that makes life very interesting. A big steal of 3 for Schwaller in the second end. And de Cruz is going to have to play all out aggressive, which he typically does anyway, to be fair. They're not scared of that. Asking Valentin Tanner, the left-hander there, for a corner guard.
C'est parfait, nature. Faut rien faire. C'est parfait.
No trouble there. Oh, there is actually. That's also sailed on a bit, so maybe those red stones are extra speedy out there somehow. Let's lay off the gas a bit to Cruz's team. Definitely advantage Schwaller here at the moment. Nice clean take out there from Marcel Keufler. And de Cruz will get another go at putting up this corner guard because of the 5-rock rule now. I'm sure Valentin Tanner will have made the connection. And in the old days, de Cruz would just yoink that guard straight off. Sorry, Schwaller would just yoink that guard straight off. Can't anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4 stones only played. And that's a nice idea. Let's bring another yellow into the house instead. Schwaller doesn't really want guards out front. There's no advantage to guarding that yellow that's already in the 4-foot. He's plus 3 points, and any guard out front, no matter where it is or which colour it is, really any guard is helping out Peter de Cruz at this situation. So Schwaller will be quite happy to keep play into the house. This looks like it's going exactly where they wanted it. Yep, nice shot from Romano Meyer, well done. Big comeback begins here then, boys, for Peter de Cruz's team. We had a bit of a discussion, makes me think of that that we had this morning when we were talking about the question of should the championships play 8 ends instead of 10. So in our competition here, and I think all of the tour competitions, you typically play 8 ends, and that's the same with us here. And in the championships, you still play 10. And there is a movement to maybe play 8 ends at all times instead of 10. 10, it really takes quite a long time. So they've got a red pretty safely in there. I think those 2 yellows in front of it are probably in the way. Yes, they are. I think there is just about a stone-shaped hole there, but yeah, I don't think Yannick has any need to go for it. I think it makes sense to play a similar shot and, yeah, maybe just open up a bit of space there. The reason they're thinking, where shall we put the stone, is, as I said, stones in play is really helping Pieter de Cruz. And Yannick doesn't really want a lot of stones in play. Not a terrible idea to just take off the corner guard, to be honest.
Yeah. Good.
I'm not telepathically helping either team, I promise. Romano-Meyer, very experienced at second throw. He and Yannick have played together for hundreds of years, even though they're only in their 20s.
Okay.
And nice peel there from Romano-Meyer. And actually, if you're following our spontaneous game on sheet 4, it looks like they are playing a skins game again, and I guess it will be similar setup as it was this morning, so 50 Swiss francs per end. Nobody won the first end. And they have yet to put up the score from the second. But it looks like the girls might have won the second end. I'll confirm that as soon as I can.
Ouais. Encore une, c'est très bien. On peut attendre une fois de plus.
Il va l'enlever, je pense.
Ah, il va l'enlever, c'est sûr. Ouais.
Really bright start then for Team Schwaller here in this final game of the Baden Masters. Putting de Cruz's team under all kinds of pressure.
Ouais, gardez la ligne, ouais. Oui, oui, il faut qu'on puisse en servir, hein, sinon... Ouais, ouais.
Jusqu'en 2, Valère, c'est bien.
Go, 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 go.
Tell us what you think. You think Pieter de Cruz can grab this back? You think Yannick Schwaller will steamroller his way through it? Same again, Yannick. Yep. That guard is the only one that can hurt you. This time, Michael Brunner, third thrower, being asked to peel that guard. And peel specifically implies that your own stone rolls out as well, which it does. And yeah, I think de Cruz has to mix it up a bit now. There's unlikely to get a mistake from Schwaller putting up the corner guard again. So let's have a rethink. They've got that one red on the back rings. That's fairly safe there. You could punch that yellow back, drive that back onto the red. So they need another red in there. Start mixing up the angles and hoping to get a miss from Schwaller. They would love to get a 2 straight back here, Pieter de Cruz, then that would really kickstart their comeback.
Oui. Oui. Ah ouais, Val. Allez.
Vraiment fort, Val. Allez. Allez, ça tient. Ça vient. Continue. Allez. Putain, mieux mêlé. Ok. 11-9.
Ah, c'est bien.
Yep.
So, doesn't help them too much, that shot. Should be fairly straightforward for Brunner to just punch that red through and roll a little bit towards our right. This is a big weight he's throwing at it. Maybe he doesn't want his stone lying around, or maybe he was going for the pair of them. No bonus double, but he does get that nice hit and roll. And yellow continue to lie too. De Cruz not making much progress then at this end to get back into this game.
C'est bien. Juste 6. 14-5, c'est parfait, je pense. Ça va pas l'air aussi une killer.
Sven Michael, third thrower for Peter de Cruz, being asked then to just come up and freeze that yellow in the forefoot.
Ligne parfaite.
No advantage to punching that yellow through, otherwise Yannick Schwaller will just simply
On est où, Ben?
go ahead and remove the red, but if
Non, non, vitesse, c'est
you just
parfait. Ça touche même
bump
pas.
up to that yellow,
Wow. Oui,
then
oui.
there's some backing, it makes it harder for Schwaller, so this looks pretty nice from Sven.
C'est là.
Doesn't quite make it to the yellow, but that red's pretty safe in there, and that was important.
Ja, ich will. Ja, genau.
Those angles are set up quite nicely, actually.
Yes. Plutôt été dans un...
Nej.
We also have Orietta in the chat. Welcome, Orietta.
Ja, ja, wenn er irgend so etwas macht,
If you want to
ist
say
gut.
hi in the chat, or say hello to your friends in the chat, or let us know what you think about the game, what's on your mind? We welcome all contributions. So Schwaller going for the open hit, that makes sense. Let's just keep cutting these reds down. No reds equals no points.
Oh, les deux bouts de la maison.
Faudrait qu'on soit chouette sur ces Huerlimann avant quoi. Juste ça.
Then see what Benoit
Easy.
Schwartz can come up
Oh.
with his first stone.
Clean, Yad!
Oh.
S'il blesse tout, Yad! On va voir.
But this makes sense to remove their second
Whoa, whoa,
counter.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Ouais. Ça va.
Very nice.
Ouais, ou bien... Ah, je crois qu'on n'a pas le choix.
So if you're Peter de Cruz playing
No.
red,
Ouais, il faut être shot,
you
ouais.
have
Si on
one
roule là
stone,
avec les doubles, c'est très
3
très
stones to
Faudrait
come,
rouler là.
Même rouler
2
dessus.
red, 1 yellow.
On
And
arrive à rouler jusque là, c'est sûr.
how do
Oui.
you try to pick up
Ouais,
2
il faut-
points here?
On-
Someone's going to
Oh,
score,
c'est
no
vrai,
blind
je pense
hand
à
coming.
Petite moitié.
I think, yeah, they have to play onto that red
Faut rouler loin.
that Sven Michael threw.
De toute façon, il faut rouler loin. Il faut prendre le risque, hein.
And I think
Ouais,
they'd
ouais,
love
tu
to
prends une moitié avec
bump
11, c'est
that
parfait.
Ouais,
yellow
je
a
pense qu'on
little
aura
bit
le black
further
même si on
behind
sort.
tee.
Ouais.
Ouais.
Yeah, you can't see much of it though.
Ouais.
So first stone, the second
Okay,
game
nettoie.
for fourth thrower Benoit
Attention.
Schwartz.
Oui.
Ouais.
And I realise we haven't actually said hello to the teams, although they need very little
Non, bien.
introduction.
Allez, allez.
Let's see how this end goes, and
Continue,
then we'll
continue.
give the
Faut rouler
team
dans les
line
pieds.
up.
C'est possible d'être shot. Sur celle derrière. Ok.
Ah, okay,
Wow.
my mistake. They, I think that's exactly what they were going for. They were
Pas où ça? On se voit une.
hit and roll on that yellow,
Okay,
and now they have 2 reds in play. So
Ah, j'aurais dû juste arrêter.
yellow
Yep.
is first shot,
J'aurais dû arrêter à la fin.
the red in front of it is second shot.
Bon, on arrête. Je pense pour les deux.
That red that's just been
Bon,
thrown,
c'est sûr, c'est
there we
le
go,
pas,
that's
c'est
third
bien,
shot, and yellow's fourth.
Si on laisse ça de moins, c'est correct. Hein. Franchement, c'est
Ouais.
pas facile.
Non.
C'est pas que tu veux en mettre deux.
Ouais, il a un double.
Yannick needs a good roll here. Needs to be quite accurate with this.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Yep.
that red on the fourth
Hi.
will be coming into play.
Hi!
Going for the double. Ooh. It just curled a little bit too much. They couldn't quite hold that line.
In, hein, je pense. Ouais.
And now, almost as if by magic, there is a chance for 2. Fairly straightforward, but we thought that in the last end. I don't want to curse poor Benoit Schwartz, but this should
Et
be
avant, c'était juste 11, je pense. Hein.
straightforward for him. Hopefully he's shaken out all those loose shots and no more mistakes today.
Ok, nettoie bien.
Ouais.
Wow. Nettoie bien. Wow. C'est bien. Nettoie.
He looks a bit happier with that one. Oh, and
10 demi.
as an encore, he just gets the double why not.
Ok, bien.
So well worked there actually to Cruz. Was a while, so we could see a 2 coming in that end, but they did get a 2 straight back. And that really, not quite levels things up, but that really takes a lot of pressure off the De Cruz rank. That was a big 3 against the head they lost. So after 3 ends here then, in the final of Baden Masters, it is 3 points to 2. Yannick Schwaller leading over Peter De Cruz. Over on sheet 4, you can watch that on the static cam. It is a skins game. Team Anna Hasselborg. They are playing Team Stefan Walstad. Spontaneous idea. Both teams are knocked out of the competition. But making the most of their time here. They are playing a spontaneous skins game. And nobody won the first end. And the boys won the second end with a score of 2. And actually, looks like the boys are lying shot in the third end. But skipstone still to come. Aggressive start then from Peter De Cruz. Puts a guard out front there. They're still 1 point behind. De Cruz, known for their aggressive tactics. They're not afraid to have loads of stones in play. And the reason they can play such aggressive tactics is because they have Bannwart Schwartz finishing it off. If you try to play Peter De Cruz tactics in your club game, you will end up bottom of your league because you don't have Bannwart Schwartz to get you out of trouble. So that's the way the game's going. We're always looking to keep stones in play, make it interesting for viewers and players. Blind teams can have a place in the game, but typically it's more exciting to watch it when there's loads of stones in play. And that's how the game's going. We do have plenty of stones in play most ends now. And you do need to be very accurate with your draw. It's a draw that's going to get you out of trouble this time, or these days. Not so much a hitting game anymore. You can see there Peter De Cruz had, well, we'll just to the house fourth end. And we'll see that Peter De Cruz has got centre guards on perfectly. There you can see a huge distance between them. And that was exactly the right idea from Schwaller to use that corner guard that he's carefully thrown up. They just caught too much curl. It was maybe a little bit shy for weight as well. That's maybe what caused it to curl a bit too much. The familiar squatting pose of Bannwart Schwartz when he's vice skip for De Cruz at second.
Attention!
Nettoie bien, nettoie bien.
Wow!
C'est assez. Oh, oh, oh.
Alors Sven!
Oh.
Wow!
Proche.
Sven!
Sven. Yep.
Wow!
Oh, oh.
Yeah. Très bien, bien ready.
Really making the most of that mistake from Schwaller's team there. Now you have those two red guards. Look, they're miles apart. Very difficult to call the double takeout on that. And they've got a handy little red sitting in the front ring. Here we go. Really nice roll behind all that cover.
Outside.
Yep, perfect result for Peter De Cruz's throw.
Okay.
Not sure Yannick will have another chance then to use his corner guard, but let's see. First things first. Romana Meyer then being asked for appeal. And what's our favourite tactical call? If you've got last stone, then peeling the centre guards is probably going to help.
Comme ça?
Out, c'est bien là, comme Val, c'est bien.
Comme Val?
Ouais.
Ouais. 1,5.
Exact.
That looks a bit brighter, but I imagine Peter de Cruz is now trying to put some pressure on Schwaller. And they will want to keep playing towards the centre. Keep forcing Schwaller to...
Oh, juste un demi, ligne parfaite. Nettoie bien, nettoie bien.
Again. He had his chance.
Je pense que c'est toujours Sven.
He didn't make it.
Oh, non.
Ça cure un poil
That's all
trop,
you
je
need at this
pense.
level.
J'aimerais bien juste qu'elle s'arrête.
Ah, excuse.
Mais c'est bien ça, c'est bien.
And indeed, a really nice guard coming in from de Cruz. It's a little bit further up, but that's still a long double. They've got a slightly different angle behind the ice, and yeah, that's a long way between those two stones. But there is a possible double on these two stones sitting close to the rings. Has he got around that guard? He has.
How about? Sorry.
That was a satisfying thunk. That was a huge tweet from Roman Maya. Big hitting team, Yannick Schwaller's team. And that's cleared the immediate danger, although they have left that longer guard. That's exactly why de Cruz throws. That's exactly why de Cruz's tactics are like this, to keep those guards really far apart. These big boys are well capable of moving two guards and their own stone if you get the guards too close together. In fact, that's why we had to change the rules. That's why we have a 5 or 3 guards zone now, because so many of the top teams were becoming far too good with their second thrower stones at clearing out the initial stones in the 4 rock rule. They were too good at negating the 4 rock rule with 1 big throw, and that's why the rule changed, and now we have a 5 rock free guard zone. In our spontaneous skins game over on sheet 4, you will be pleased to learn, if you've been following Anna Hasselborg's team, the ladies won that 3rd end. Loads of stones in play there, and a difficult shot for Stefan on his last stone. He just had to catch an edge and didn't quite get to it, so a steal of a point for the ladies there. They win that end.
11,5. 11,5, 12, ouais. Ça suffit.
Ouais, 12 ça suffit, je pense.
At the moment then, the boys have won 2 of the ends. No one won the first end, so that rolled over, and the boys picked up the second end.
Nettoie bien, nettoie bien.
And the ladies picking up the 3rd end.
Un peu moins.
Wow,
12,5.
wow, Ben, wow, balle, oui.
We're approaching the halfway point in our featured game here. This is the final of the Baden Masters. Schwaller back with last shot. And looks like he is going to try and bring this corner guard into play. No, I think the team's talked him out of it. Yeah, I think if you play towards the corner now, I think de Cruz is just going to keep pressing towards the centre, and you might get yourself in a big mess. So that controlled weight again, important where the shooter goes. It is going to hang on. Really nice result there for Michael Brunner. Very well played.
Je vois juste tout.
Ça c'est dur, hein.
C'est risqué, ouais.
Can de Cruz see all of
Il a un
that?
split.
Actually,
Il a un split.
Ouais.
that's alright though.
Je dirais si.
What Schwaller doesn't want is that de Cruz, can start dominating the middle.
Okay, on fait le
And now de
hit
Cruz has to think, does he want to remove that stone?
10.
But that means maybe then Schwaller will go for the middle.
10.
Lui joue peut-être le take out après, de toute façon.
Or does de Cruz take a risk, try to get to the middle first,
En rôle d'or,
but if they muff it,
il doit quand même faire le split.
then they're going to be in trouble. They are looking far more likely to lose more than 1 point. Get a nice look then at 4th thrower, Bema Schwartz,
Ouais.
and Peter de Cruz's team.
Wow. Attention.
I'm sure he's long forgotten about
Wow,
that second end now. He'll be focused completely on
regarde.
the next ends. That quite often happens if there's stones flying everywhere, that the players can bump into each other.
Aha, okay, yeah, thanks for that.
I think that was a good choice. That's removed the immediate danger. No yellows is no points. We're only halfway. No need to start going flat out aggressive.
Lekker zo, ja. Maar gaat hij zo blijven, hè?
Ok, bon, ça, ouais, le split est quand même hyper dur. Ouais, ça va être dommage de le rapprocher. Ok, dommage.
3 stones to come then in this 4th end of our final at Baden Masters. And that will bring us to the halfway point. All of our games 8 ends here.
Easy. Close. Shallow.
Controlled rate.
Shallow.
And Marcel Koifler trying to sweep it to get it to curl. It's definitely going to roll, but it is going to hang on. But it is out in the open. Easy, well, I don't want to say that. Should be straightforward shot for Bannwart. He will want to hit and hang around and force Yannick Schwaller into playing a shot, hopefully making a mistake. No chance for Schwaller to get 2 at this 4th end. But let's see what they're thinking though, because Schwaller is already +1, and even if he's forced to take 1, that would make the score 4-2. Well, I don't think he's going to be forced, but if he ends up taking 1 point here, that would make the score 4-2, and that puts them back at a 2-point cushion. So actually scoring 1, even giving up last stone, scoring 1 for Yannick Schwaller, not the end of the world. So about bumper weight, we would say, or barrier weight, or board weight if you're Canadian. Nowadays you more typically talk about, say, 10 or 11 second stone. That means 10 or 11 seconds to go from hogline to hogline. Last stone then in this 4th end, that will bring us to the halfway point. I suspect Yannick Schwaller wants to hit and roll out, hang on to last stone, and try to build in the 5th end. So big weight to make sure his own stone rolls out, which it does. Blank end there in the 4th. And Schwaller hangs on to last stone for the 5th end. Tight affair then in the final of the Baden Masters. First World Curling Tour event of this 21 to 22 season. Big season for everyone. It's Olympics in 22. And both of the teams that you see out there, they will be having a playoff to see which of those two. It is only these 2 teams that have the opportunity to represent Switzerland. And they will be having a playoff to see who wins that nomination. And I think, yeah, both teams will fancy it. Schwaller's in good form. And he's a real fighter. De Cruz may have the advantage in the pedigree. Seem to be enjoying their curling, which is good to see. Having a bit of a giggle.
Okay.
But yes, that's enough giggling for now. You do have to get on and play. Schwaller hanging on to last one for the 5th end, so enough funny stuff. And let's get on and play. He is typically very nice, Peter de Cruz. He typically plays with a smile.
Regarde, regarde, hein, ça va vraiment vite là.
C'est très bien vitesse.
Ok.
And in contrast, Ben Schwartz typically has that
Ça flotte un peu,
concentrated look on his face, whether he's mysteriously throwing a stone through or whether he's pulling off a triple takeout. He always looks the same.
Bien, Val.
Nice shot then from Valentin Tanner. It will be same drill in this fifth end. Schwaller will be throwing up a corner guard here. Asking Marcel Keufler to put up the cover first. I know, it looks like in fact switching up the tactics more, and he's going to use that guard thrown up by de Cruz's team. This can work too. You see this kind of situation more often now, especially in the 5-rock rule. Sometimes it can start to look a bit like an end of mixed doubles, where play typically is focusing towards the centre. And you see that a lot more in the 5-rock rule because the guards stay in play just that one stone longer. I feel like we're seeing this a bit more, that it could become a race to the centre more than putting up a corner guard and drawing a stone behind that. That was traditionally how you would start building an end and look for 2 points. And because we have that one extra guard able to be in play in the 5-rock world, 5-rock rule world, sometimes this can make sense that you get to the centre first and you try and control the area just ahead of T-line before your opposition does. Schwaller with last stone in the 5th end. Our spontaneous skins game at the skip stones of the 4th end. Really nice stones there from Marcel Keufler. That's exactly what he was asked to do. 100% for him in this end.
8-9, je pense c'est bien. Comme ça? Un peu plus peut-être?
Ouais, je rien, un poil plus quand même. Ouais.
De Cruz also then going for the centre. I imagine he just wants to snuggle a red stone in with those yellows and try and start setting up some angles.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, 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 no.
Attention Sven. Sven.
He's always typically looking very concentrated as well, watching his stone.
Très bien, Pete.
That works. He's moved that yellow behind T. And he's got a nice red stone in front of T that he can use to start moving things around later. Here's our favourite tactic with the last stone, Romano Meyer being asked to remove the centre guards. I don't think he's going for the double. He might do. Not quite.
Merci. Moi je crois vers là. Ouais. Exactement une moitié sur celle-là.
Now it's Peter de Cruz's chance. If they make a good shot here, they can start to control that area in front of T at the centre.
C'est mieux d'être même à côté, Pete, hein, tu sais.
Getting very mixed doubles-y out
Ici,
there.
je pense à l'aide, il blast, c'est hyper facile.
You see that a lot in the mixed doubles, that you start with stones in play on the centre line, one guard and one just behind the T line. And you see that a lot in mixed doubles. You see the teams throwing in stone after stone to the front of the house to really set up the angles, and then coming in with a big weight and spraying everything out in one go.
Un tiers, un quart dessus, je pense qu'on est bien. Ouais. La moitié, il y a vraiment le jam, ce serait le mieux.
S'il blast tout, il y a une garde.
Second stone in this fifth end for Peter de Cruz. they don't have last shot.
Oh, juste vitesse, les gars.
Mord le bouton.
They're looking to control that centre area.
Mord le bouton, la ligne est très bien. La ligne, on peut
Looks
utiliser,
like
c'est
they
un peu
were
large, mais c'est bien.
aiming to bump into
Balle devant.
the yellow on the left of the line as we
Ouais, ça
see
tient
it.
bien assez. Hein.
But gosh, it doesn't have catch a curl at the end, doesn't it?
Laisse-la là, ça va.
I thought that had loads of room, but
Ok, bien balayé.
Ça va aussi.
there it is curling right over that line.
C'était vraiment.
Coming up a little bit shorter, but they won't mind that. That's two dangerous reds there now. One of the yellows already behind T-line,
15, ouais, ça va.
and one of them just balanced on top of
Pas
T-line.
fatigué, pas tous, mais...
Allez, ils ont arrêté un peu, je crois. C'est pour la ligne. C'est vrai que ça.
So I think this makes sense as well. If
Non, mais
Cruz is
c'est
trying
pas
to
large, hein.
start to control that centre line, let's just get rid of the cover, make his life a bit more awkward. So same shot like before for Meyer. He's got more than one this time. He hit an awful lot of stones, Meyer,
Là-dessus.
but that maybe looks a bit fancier than it was, because as you can see, we do still have a centre guard, even though it's now yellow,
Juste bump.
and Peter de Cruz still has that dangerous red that he can play on, which it looks like he's going to. So asking big hitting Sven Michel for
Ah, c'est un
a
poil
much
vite,
more
mais c'est bien.
delicate shot, more like T-line, front
Parfait pour
rings.
bounce.
Ligne,
Vite
oui.
là, vite
Ouais,
là.
ouais. Ouais, les deux.
Ah, ça plante
les deux.
beaucoup.
Oui. Ça passe, allez.
You can see Valentin Tanner is such an engine room when it comes to sweeping, but even he wasn't able to hold the line on that one. A bit of a let off for Schwaller there then. Could be a chance here.
Vitesse, c'est parfait.
C'est mine.
I think at the club, that
Ça a pris une.
double on the reds would look so tempting, you might not even think of anything else.
Ja.
Thinking a little bit more sophisticated though out on this ice. It's a very makeable, excuse me, it's a very makeable double takeout on those reds, those two dangerous reds in front.
Ouais.
But they'll be thinking this whole end through.
Enfin, on aurait trop gagné.
Ouais, comme ça. Mais le résultat est ok. Oui, c'est bon, c'est risqué, mais bon.
Ja.
Oui, sinon...
Après, c'est défensif.
Bah, en théorie, voler le 6ème, c'est encore mieux que voler le 5ème. C'est sûr, je peux blank, à la limite, pourquoi pas.
Nej.
Sometimes it can be that even though there's a nice tempting double there,
Ja.
and it's always very satisfying to get a nice double takeout, can be that that's not going to help you as much as you think.
Ja, det är super.
And that's what they're looking at just now. They're really making sure, okay, do we want to go for this double? Do we want to just go for one of the reds and make sure we get the right roll from the yellow?
C'est clair. Moi, je prends le blank maintenant.
Making this double takeout, not a problem, I don't think. But is that actually the right shot?
Une Royal Blast. Ja, c'est dur. On utilise, mais.
I know.
And we were talking at lunchtime about how narrow the margins are at this level.
Pas limite en...
I feel like sometimes we maybe think that De Cruz and Schwaller and Edin, they just go out and demolish everyone else, and they don't actually. It's just their narrow margin
Ja, ich hab
is just slightly better than the other teams out there. If they were getting it wrong, or rather if they were not quite catching the right angles and not quite being as precise as they are, those other teams would overtake them. But yeah, it's not the De Cruz and Schwaller. They don't go out and demolish all the other teams. Typically, you do have Bannwart Forts and Yannick Schwaller having to draw to the 4-foot with the last stone of the 8th end.
Oui, ça se fait.
And they just have that little edge over the other teams just now. The reason these teams keep making semis and finals is because they're just that bit more precise. So decisions made, we know where we need to hit the stones.
Ça curle.
Hey! Hey!
Everybody on the sweep. Looked like they were sweeping to try to hold it straight, so they maybe didn't want to catch so much of that red actually. They may have set up a bit of a plant there. You can see if you just hit a little bit outside the centre of that yellow, I think that red squirts straight back onto the 4 foot. But yeah, I also quite like that red where it is just now. It's very dangerous where it is. You can use that later. And this is also a good idea. Let's get a second red in there to put more pressure on Schwaller. The whole counterclockwise handle is open.
Je pense que c'est assez bien. Ligne bien. Ligne
Je dirais 8.
Oui.
Je dirais
There's
7, 8.
plenty of space to get a second red ahead of T-line here.
Moi, je dirais 9.
Yeah, steady boys.
Je pense que c'est vraiment proche. Poil trop vite.
Non, non, non.
Il faut être sur l'intérieur pitch, je pense.
Non, 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 rien, rien.
We haven't played so many stones on this handle, so maybe they were worried it might be a little stickier on that hand, but just overran a little bit, I think, that red. I think they would have preferred it ahead of T-line. But not too bad, yeah, that's a nice angle there. Difficult to remove that red easily and then sit somewhere good yourself. I think quite a nice saver there, then, that red stone from Sven Michael. There is space to follow that stone. You could just put another yellow in on top. That's us looking from the front of house is at the bottom of our screen. You could just stick another yellow on top, but then Cruz is just going to close the door and he won't let you get a second shot. As we said, not the end of the world if Schwaller picks up only 1 point with, as he has last stone, because he is already +1, and if he picks up 1 point, that puts him at +2. And since we're only playing 8 ends, you will start to run out of ends. So looks like this is maybe backline hack weight, something like that. Maybe about 11 second stone. There is a gap through there. If you get around that front guard, you could definitely pop that red through the gap. But yeah, you can see how skinny that angle is. I'm not sure we would be attempting this shot at the club. I think it might be too difficult for club players, but not for Michael Brunner. On-off sweeping, always a nice sign. And he's got it through that gap. Nice effort. Well appreciated here in the club room. Having said that, you are just giving Peter de Cruz the chance to do that better this time. And this time he might get it more ahead of tee, and he might get it better buried. Yeah, just where Peter's brush is there. He wants to really tuck it right in behind that yellow in the centre. Just ahead of tee. Yep, exactly where Peter's brush is. I think that would be a really nice spot for it.
Ça prend l'intérieur, ça s'arrête là, c'est ok pour nous, je trouve.
Je suis d'accord.
Là.
Ouais, je crois que c'est ça. Je crois qu'il faut essayer. Parce que
Close stuff out there. Who do you think is going to win?
ouais, c'est clair. Free, c'est hyper bien.
If you want to share your thoughts in the chat, we welcome it.
Oui, parce qu'on peut utiliser ça après.
Enfin, je pense.
As I said, this game also important from a psychological point of view. These teams will be battling for the Olympic nomination for the Swiss team in the next couple of months, and whoever prevails here, he'll be feeling that little bit confidence. Although I don't think this will be the last time these two teams will meet before then, but still. Right, first shot for Bannwart. I think they're going for T-line. This is looking chunky from my angle. Not quite found the line, and yeah, lay off the gas, Benoit. He's overthrowing a wee bit this afternoon. And again, I don't really think that helps him, to be honest. That's behind tee, wide in the open. They've only got 1 shot left. Peter de Cruz's team, 3 stones to come. 2 for Schwaller, 1 for de Cruz. That yellow
C'est un peu dangereux.
is
Und
first
der
shot.
Tinte
It
wird noch
looks
besser
pretty
liegen.
safe behind the stones in front of it. And now we need to discuss where's a better place. I quite like where Marcel Kweufler is pointing to, so that's basically where Peter de Cruz was aiming for, but they overshot it. Yep, where Yannick's brush is right there.
Par l'extérieur, ouais, peut-être qu'il peut.
I quite like that. And then they're saying, okay, if we have a yellow there, he's going to take a run at that front yellow to red to our yellow.
Ich finde es gut, ja.
Do the angles add up? And it looks like they do.
Right on the nose.
Il va faire le run straight. Il faudrait qu'il rate.
Ouais, hein. Si on vole comme ça me va. Hein. Ouais, de toute façon, il faut.
À moins que nous, on roule moitié caché derrière la scène shot, tu vois. C'est lui les noses, sinon on vient hack. Juste rouler un petit peu.
À moins qu'on ait step back. Hein, mais je pense pas que c'est une option.
C'est dur. Ça sera dur à avoir la ligne et exactement la vitesse qu'on veut, tu vois. Ouais. Ce sera moins
So
facile.
important shot here for Yannick to try to set up a
Ligne.
possibility to score 2.
Oui, ligne était bien. C'était vraiment juste trop vite.
Oh! Ja, pressure. Oh! Oh! Clean, clean. Oh, land. It's long.
Looks like they wanted to roll the other way.
So,
Quite a few yellows hanging around there then.
Le tap, le seul problème c'est
Well,
que
this better be good then, that.
c'est un méga guess. Pour la pousser full 4 sans lui laisser quelque chose. Enfin,
Ouais,
on lui laisse toujours ça au stand. Hein.
C'est genre presque la moitié qu'il faut prendre.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellows hanging around.
Moi, je pense que ça sert vraiment à rien.
And
Mais
the angle's
qu'il y a un
keeping
spot,
that
il y a rien.
red in play. Probably quite kind, but golly,
Peut-être ça s'arrête là-dessus.
if anything goes wrong here,
Enfin, il arrive toujours à la toucher, je pense, mais.
this could be a
Et si on
hatful.
est là, il a de toute façon ça droit. On peut lui laisser ça, hein, mais. C'était là.
Ah, c'est sûr, hein.
I think they still
Non,
need to,
c'est
yeah,
quelque part sur le
basically
bouton, c'est proche, quoi.
get one in that spot they've been
Exactement,
trying
ça,
for a couple of
non, mais
stones to
ça-
find.
Non, mais sur le bouton, il casse tout. Hein. C'est
Ouais,
vraiment
tu comme-
facile. Hein.
Viso, tout, ouais, mais-
Quite
No, no,
close
but
to
that's
that
not
yellow
very
guard
possible.
and
Je crois, on
then
doit faire ça.
sneak
Oh,
in
yeah.
behind as much of that as you can.
Non.
Le problème, c'est que tu la mets nous, quoi.
Alors, elle va être là, c'est sûr.
Ouais.
Il y aura celle-là, c'est sûr.
Et il a de toute façon ça.
Alors, je pense que l'idée, ce serait peut-être comme ça sur 2 tiers.
I think what they're worried about though is that if they
Ouais,
put this
attends,
red in the wrong
très bien.
place,
Bon, votre ligne.
then
No.
again, if
la mets
Schwaller
ici.
takes a run at that yellow,
Puis là,
it's
si c'est un peu trop bas.
right next to that red
Oui,
there.
mais
Yeah,
ça,
you
oui,
can.
mais ça,
That's what they're worried about.
Avec les dragues,
If they put this red in the wrong place,
pour sortir.
and Schwaller takes a run at that yellow, he might be able to squirt out both the
Mais
reds
ça, faut y arriver. Hein.
and pick up a 6 or something.
Si t'es là, il prend.
What they want to avoid then is putting that
On doit avoir un peu de chance
the
avec les
red
angles,
that's
hein.
coming, Benoit's last stone at this end, they want to avoid putting that anywhere in the line of the other red.
Bah, c'est juste qu'il casse tout, je pense.
Ça marche, ouais. Ça marche. Si t'es exactement là, c'est. Peut-être ça vient là, c'est probablement pas un
Schwaller's
style de
team,
toute façon, mais.
they will be absolutely eyeing up that yellow onto red possibility.
Il n'y a vraiment rien. Mais si on peut essayer là. Hein.
And the past 2 stones on that line for De Cruz haven't quite worked out.
C'était un peu collé dessus, du coup après elle sort, peut-être ça jam ici.
Non, mais
ça jam là, un truc comme ça.
Ouais, faut derrière le bouton. Ouais.
Et
14.
il y a probablement toujours
We need a
quelque chose.
big stone from Benoit Schwartz here.
Ou direct ici, puis on lui laisse ça.
This is an
C'est
important
peut-être-
one.
Ça, c'est une pierre plus dure, c'est clair. Si t'es ici, s'il essaie ça, peut-être ça jam là et ça jam
ouais.
ici. Là, c'est peut-être mieux.
Ouais, 14, 3.
Don't take too long to
Exactement là.
decide,
Je
boys.
pense 14-3 ce sera nature. Hein.
À ce
Get
moment-là,
on with it, don't lose the rhythm.
Exactement là. Je pense qu'il faut lui laisser ça, à mon avis. Hein.
ouais, oui, de toute façon.
Là, ça peut double jammer.
LSD, hein.
So, deep breath.
Ok, juste mordre le bouton. Ok,
Ah, c'est
Hopefully he's adjusted.
ligne bien.
Overthrew the last stone Benoit Schwartz.
Exactement là.
c'est vite, mais.
Oh.
Plutôt large.
Ok.
Sweepers are standing back again, but this looks
Ja, nu.
definitely better.
Somewhere
I
set.
think they want it to stop now, or
Oké. Très vite.
My buisje.
Genau.
it's
Ja.
certainly out of the path of the other red, and that was important.
Excuse.
I don't think there's a shot for 6.
Combien ça?
Ja.
Peter de Cruz fans will
Très
be
vite.
pleased to hear.
Ja, voll. Ja, dat is spannend.
And if Schwaller simply follows that red stone that Bannwart just played, if he just plays it a few centimetres
Har ni
longer,
ett gefühl? Alltså
Then
selbst der Fünfer blickt auf
they will
einen
pick up a
springt ut.
tasty 3
Schön so.
points. I don't think they need to look at the big shot, the circus shot. I don't even think they need to look at that. If they pick up 3 here, and it should be pretty straightforward, they've just seen Bannwart's stone coming down that path. If they pick up 3 here, that will be a score of 6-2 after 5 ends, and leaving de Cruz in all sorts of trouble. But we need to make it first. Only lying 1 yellow just now, but huge opportunity here.
Clean. Lunge clean, easy. Achtung.
It looked like the curl
Yep.
really dug in
Yep.
with the curl towards the
Ja,
end.
hier. Hoi. Hoi. Hoi.
Sweeping hard,
Bitte.
just trying to get this round.
Hoi. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No! But they had a nice weight on it, and that still picked up 2,
Je bent lang.
and that's still a big 2. That makes the score 5-2 after 5 ends in the final here. So not quite a mountain to climb for Peter de Cruz, but certainly a hill. I think they would have been kicking themselves if they'd only made 1 point there. So good job that they had good weight there. Yeah, we could see that stone really grabbing the curl towards the end. And a frustrated broom slap from Schwaller there. But they had that good weight, so they ended up picking up 2. And yeah, that's still looking like a healthy score for Team Schwaller. 3 ends to come in the final.
Fast it was. Ja.
Phew, so tense stuff out there. Over on sheet 4, we have our friendly skins game. Maybe not quite as tense, but they're certainly taking it seriously. That's Team Anna Hasselborg. They are playing Team Stefan Walstad from Norway. And nobody won the 4th end. And it looks like the boys are sitting quite nicely in this 5th end.
Doet me. Doet me. C'est bon, c'est doet me. Clean, vraiment
Peter de
bien.
Cruz, known as an aggressive tactician.
Clean, super.
As I said, they get away with their
Clean's really
sometimes almost suicidally aggressive tactics because they have little Bannwart to get them out of trouble if needed, and they're going to need every ounce of that. And they've started off the right place. Nice corner guard. Schwaller will be doing the opposite. He's plus 3 points. We've only got 3 ends left. I don't think he'll be interested in guards at all.
Ja.
He will want to keep play towards the house. And I imagine Marcel Keufler will be putting a stone right on top of his first, or just nice and close to it.
Okay.
That's nicely done.
Stop.
Good start from Schwaller's team. Nice stones from Marcel Keufler there. So Mads asked if there was no bronze game, so a third, fourth playoff. There wasn't, Mads, no. I don't know, I think that's really not very popular with the teams who have to go out and play it typically. It's really a bit of a game too far. Both of them would be coming off a disappointment. At this competition, at least, we have joint third.
Très bien. Hein? Vraiment bien.
Nej.
Commence à ralentir. Maintenant, là. Ouais. Maintenant, c'est plutôt des 10 je pense. Que des 12.
Peter de Cruz opting for the double guard then. You can see this done both ways. Sometimes the teams will play a corner guard on either side of the centre line, covering both of the wings of the house, and sometimes you play the double guard instead. That's also an option. It makes the run back much harder, obviously. And as we said, Schwaller interested in keeping everything in the house. He doesn't really want guards. Looks like he's about to expire, sweeping that stone. He was giving that his all. Now the Cruz has to have courage. They want to use those corner guards that they've thrown up, but they're going to be facing a whole heap of yellows in the centre. But they've no other choice. They need to dig themselves out of this hole. They need to get 3 points back at least to keep the game going.
Poil de place quand même. Place.
Le plus loin possible. Ouais.
Juste pour la ligne, finir.
Être ici. Ici serait parfait.
Ligne bien.
This looks really nice from Peter.
Très bien, Pete.
There we are. So that's their second shot, so to say. They would anticipate that shot counting as number 2 at the end of play here. If hopefully they can get a shot towards the centre as well. And Yannick having none of that, he is going to start removing guards immediately. So we can see the value of the double guard. Pretty hard for Roman Meyer, second thrower, to make the double here. Much easier on the centre. Oh, but he has. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. He's got a little bonus roll towards the middle as well. Although I think Yannick wouldn't have minded if that had just rolled all the way out. As I said, guards are really only helping to Cruz, even if they're in the middle. The fewer stones in play, the less likely Peter de Cruz is to pick up any points, never mind the 3 points he needs to get to keep the game going. And de Cruz's team, they will have to take every half chance they get, and that includes using centre guards, using those yellow stones in the house to try to generate some offence.
Nettoie bien. Sven. Oui. Oui. Wow. Wow. C'est exactement ce qu'on veut. Ça suffit. Bien, Pete.
That's not a bad result. Both of those reds are open, but he does have 2 reds ahead of tee. And that's what they need to Cruz. They need to start keeping some stones in play. Yeah, the boys need to be careful not to trip over that back yellow. You can easily catch your feet on that. And ice is slippy, you have to be careful. In the 5th end of our skins game, over on sheet 4, looks like we have all 16 stones in the 4-foot. I may be exaggerating slightly, but yeah, certainly plenty of stones in play over there. Schwaller in defensive mode. They're +3. There we are. 5-2 is the score to Schwaller. There's only 3 ends left, including this one. So Schwaller in defensive mode. He wants to start removing stones. If there's nothing to hide behind, if there's no stones to freeze against, very little chance for Peter de Cruz to start getting points.
Il faut prendre l'intérieur. Hein. Ouais.
Ok, oh.
Non. Surtout pas large. 9, faut surtout pas être large, Pete. Hein.
Attention, balle, oui.
C'est 9, 8, 9.
Wow.
Pas très vite.
Everybody needs to have their T weights in their pocket then now in Peter de Cruz's team.
Faut rouler. Hein.
And it looks like Sven does have that weight. That's a lovely shot from Sven. Really nice. That gets a second red in. I don't see a double take out, I don't think. So that's really nice stone placement. It's hard to overstate how precise these stones have to be, really. As I was just saying, it's not that these top teams go out and demolish everyone, it's that they are so precise. They're, 4 or 5 centimetres more precise than the other team, and that's what you need. Really good stone placement from Sven. It is really hard work trying to hide these stones from big hitting Schwaller's team. So nicely getting rid of that centre guard, taking away that dangerous stone for people to trip over at the back. Good job, Michael Brunner.
Je crois pas qu'il arrive à tout casser, mais...
And remember in the third end, it was something similar. I felt like Schwaller was fairly on top of the third end, and then just in the last 2 or 3 stones, as if by magic, an opportunity for a 2 appeared. And a 2 for de Cruz at this end would get them right back into this game with 2 ends to play.
Ouais. S'il a pas de double, faut jouer là.
Oh, if you're a fan of ladies curling, if you're supporting Anna's team this weekend, the boys won the 5th end with 2 points in their skins game.
Est-ce que ça doit être shot sur ça? Moi, je pense que lui va jouer sur ça maintenant.
Faut juste pas lui donner le triple. Hein.
Je pense que lui va essayer.
Spontaneous idea from Anna Hasselborg's team, wanting to make the most of their time here in Switzerland, and Stefan Walstad's team knocked out in the semi-final stage this morning. The 2 of them playing a skins game out there for a bit of extra practice. And the structure of that game really encourages this very aggressive play. If you haven't played skins before, then what you're trying to do is avoid the default. And if you have last stone, you have 1 last stone. Therefore, at this level, where everybody pretty much makes their shots, you should typically be able to pick up 1 point with your 1 last stone. And in skins, if you want to win the end, you have to do better than that. You either have to get more than 1 point if you have last stone, or you have to steal the end if you don't have last stone. And they're playing for 50 Swiss francs per end out there. And if nobody wins the end, then the 50 francs rolls over to the next end.
C'est safe, mais...
C'est bien, hein?
Ouais, c'est en tout cas 6-7.
Place. Exactement, T.
C'est 7-8. C'est relatif.
Back to our final then.
Non, c'est...
De Cruz fighting really hard to try to set up some offense here. It's a nice shot from Sven. Those 3 reds are in really nice positions there.
Yeah.
And again, Schwaller has to be careful. He'll be mindful of what happened in the third end when they didn't do a lot wrong really, but the stone placement from de Cruz was really well done, and that opened up an opportunity right at the end to get 2 points, and he doesn't want that happening again. I think he reckons he can get at least those 2 reds out. If he takes a run at that yellow in the middle, I think red connects onto the other red. Let's see. Always spectacular to watch these big stones, and Yannick not afraid of a huge hit. So full beans. Gives it a little extra push at the end. Stand back, right 4. Ah, that's how he was doing it. That's a great shot. He was going for those 2 reds instead. Really nice effort there.
Juste là. Nice. Juste là.
That's got them out of danger. Here it comes.
Ah bah non, là...
Even at slow motion, it's going on at quite a lick.
Ah, tu dis avec le double roule.
Really well played,
Oh,
really
si,
well
on peut
spotted
aussi.
those angles
Ah,
there.
ça, oui, c'est là.
Oui, exactement là.
Tu peux essayer.
Hein?
Taper. Oui, et
This
puis
is
c'est
great
là.
defense from Schwaller's team.
Ouais.
Ah, übrigens, wenn er tut,
C'est clair, c'est possible.
Faut peut-être essayer.
Exactement là. Ou juste ça, quoi, t'as raison.
Ah ouais.
Hein?
I think that definitely deserves a fist bump.
12,5 je pense. 12,5 sur 3 quarts.
So thinking hats on into Cruz's team.
On
They do
arrive à
have
la
that
faire
one
rouler
red.
derrière, je
They
pense, hein.
do have
Ça.
De toute façon,
last
le draw
stone
est
in
c'est
this
le même
fifth
risque. Hein.
end.
Ouais, bien sûr.
C'est exactement le même risque le draw.
Ouais.
Alors que si elles sont les deux cachées,
2 more
peut-être
shots
qu'il
for
rate
Bannwart Schwartz and 1 more shot for Yannick Schwaller. So where do you put this red
ça. C'est le même risque. Enfin, c'est la même difficulté. Hein.
to give yourself at least a chance of getting
marche.
2?
Vitesse, tu joues?
Ah, je joue 12,5 je pense.
Ouais.
13 peut-être. Hein.
Même 12, je pense que ça marche. Hein.
Ah, je peux la sortir si je prends pas pour faire.
Ok, ça marche.
Looks like they may be talking about
Rouler les
using
deux,
that
je pense.
red.
C'est bien. Peut-être qu'il rate ça.
Still playing about T-line and just bumping off that red. Sticking to that counterclockwise handle. What they don't want
13. 12,5
is if
13.
they
Hein.
leave Yannick Schwaller a makeable double takeout
Deuxième
he
ligne,
will
ouais,
gobble
parfait.
that up.
Ouais. T'aimes bien ça?
and leave 2
Ouais.
yellows lying around, and he will force Bannwart Schwartz to,
Ouais,
to score only 1 point. And that would be not exactly a disaster, but it would make their life awfully difficult to get back into this game from there. Important
Yeah.
shot then
Ouais.
for Bannwart Schwartz.
Ouais.
Wow.
Wow. Attention.
Oh,
Wow.
he doesn't look like he
Oui.
likes it.
Oui.
Wow.
But then again, he always looks like that.
Wow.
Can be
Faut
hard to
rouler, hein.
tell.
Pour la première là. Ok, mais là c'est pas mal.
I think they just wanted a little bit more curl on it, so it didn't end up quite so straight as it is now, because indeed that's exactly what we were just saying. If they leave Yannick Schwaller a makeable double, and I
Yeah.
think this is,
Garde der.
he will
Am
gobble
Alben
it up,
scored.
leave a whole bunch of yellows lying around, and Peter de Cruz will have to pick up 1 point and lose last stone.
c'est pas trop. Une moitié, ça va, hein, je pense. Ouais, ça peut juste.
Je pense. Ouais, le run aurait été court. Hein.
Le run, il va être très facile.
Peut-être qu'il me reste un coup de dé, mais on va voir. Il doit quand même. Il peut pas prendre trop en plein, je pense. Bon, ça a l'air pas mal ça.
Chance for Yannick Schwaller to put huge pressure on the de Cruz rink.
He's
Just about a match point, and he's got it.
Blink.
Take that.
C'est un peu kiff-kiff, hein, je pense.
Faut essayer, je pense.
Bien.
Volley de volley, hein.
That's a super shot from Schwaller. That puts so much pressure on de
Je
Cruz.
suis même pas là, mais.
Hein?
Not so much in terms of what to do this minute,
Maintenant, ouais.
but in terms
c'est
of
le
how
volley
on
après.
earth are you winning the game from here.
Kiff, ouais.
Even if there was a double takeout on the yellows, which they're, if your life depended on it, you could go for it. But yeah, they've got no choice but to just draw for 1 here. And even if there was a double on the yellows, I don't think that would help them really either. They probably would do it. A blank is probably better than drawing for 1, but they are very much running out of ends to get this game turned around. And from this point, let's see how Schwaller can close out a game in 2 ends. So no mistake there. We certainly don't want the game ending on
Tied 6.
an accidental shot where you accidentally throw it through. So 1 point safely on the board for Team Peter de Cruz, but life not getting any easier for them. That gives us a score of 5 points to 3 in favour of Schwaller after 6 ends. So de Cruz's team have to somehow fashion
Exact.
2 points at least to keep this game going to an extra end. So once we put the score up, that will be 1 point in the 6th end. And life really quite difficult now for Peter de Cruz. And at this level, a gap of +2 with 2 ends to go. It is a big gap, and now we will have a chance to see, well, first of all, what does de Cruz do? They were the Olympic bronze medalists last time. They will be very keen to go back and try to improve on that. So let's see how that pedigree copes with this situation, and let's see how Yannick Schwaller closes out this game from this advantageous position. There we are. We've seen that shot many times this weekend. Just over the hog line, please, because then that stone has got plenty of space to hang around. There's the score confirmed. Yannick interested in closing out this game. He doesn't want stones hanging around. He doesn't want to give de Cruz any chance. And Schwaller has last stone in this 7th end. De Cruz really has to steal this end. Has he made it? I think he has. What a shot from Marcel Keufler.
Don't do it.
Look at that. Those stones could hardly be any further away from the centre line and still be on the sheet. What a great shot from Marcel. And this is fine for Schwaller. They don't need to score 2 points at this end. They are +2, and we only have 2 ends left. If Yannick scores at all at this end, if he makes 1 point, that would make the score 6-3. And at the club, yeah, you might fancy your chances of getting 3 points. At this level, you will not, or it's highly unlikely. De Cruz just mixing it up a bit then. Trying to make that tick shot harder. They've just seen Marcel Keufler perform near perfect tick shot there. So they just put it at a slightly different angle, that red. That's why they've curled it a little bit further away from the centre line, so that they don't give Keufler that same shot again. And now Schwaller drawing completely away from that guard. He wants to keep play away from cover. No trouble there. 14 out of 10 for Marcel Keufler on that end. Good job.
Un poil bizarre dans la main, mais
3-4, j'aimerais bien 3 quand même.
Ignoring that stone.
Sven devant.
He's not going to get distracted, not going to get sucked into
Juste pas qu'il puisse les enlever d'un coup. Faut
they
juste
have
les
to steal this end.
éloigner.
Even if Yannick scores 1, as I said, that would make the score 6-3. I think that would be too big a mountain to climb. And I think de Cruz is going to have to persist with an all or bust strategy of stealing this end. That can be quite exciting as well. You can get a lot of stones in play when one team has just got no choice but to go for it. They cannot afford to hit things. They're going to have to leave stones lying around. Another chance for Romana Meyer to show off his double takeout chops. No trouble there. Just the one this time, but all the pressure's still on de Cruz.
Ok, juste un.
Oh, non, non,
On sheet 4, our friendly skins game.
Ok, il faut cacher celle-là.
Moving along at a rather more leisurely pace.
Check it out.
Val.
Also because typically in a skins game you do have a lot of stones in play. And the ladies looking in a nice position just now with 2 stones to come, 1 each. So another chance for Romana Meyer to move some granite.
Keep going.
And we haven't just put on the video loop, that was exactly the same shot from Romano-Meyer, I think to the millimetre.
Yes.
Ligne, très bien. Ligne parfaite.
Bien vitesse.
À vous, ligne, c'est bien.
Faut être sûr des shots.
Ligne parfaite. Hein. Vraiment idéal.
Faut juste être shot. Même si on bounce. Hein.
Ligne absolument
Peter
parfaite.
Cruz switching up the tactics then a little bit. Let's go for a freeze.
Ouais, c'est bon. Juste pas. Ah, c'est pas shot. Ah, mais
Made a pretty nice job of it, I think.
aussi.
Sven Michael.
Okay.
There you can see that red pressed right up to that yellow. Just booped it on the nose and
Ja.
looking
Je
pretty
gaat allemaal
nice.
kaart knopen. Die
But
is
I
sowieso
think
naar de meeting.
third thrower Michael
Je
Brunner,
gaat allemaal kaart
if he
knopen.
throws a screamer at that, I think he can
Niet
still
één
spin the red
naar
out. Yeah, the choice is, do you remove that guard or do you attack that red just played?
Vind ik
The
goed.
red's the only one that's ever going to cause you problems. The guard, sorry, is the only one that's going to cause you trouble.
Moi j'avais un.
May as well remove that.
Hard.
Schwaller has last stone, remember.
Cello, oeze. Zoals we met, zoals we
And
een
if he
garde.
just scores one in this end, that's putting them really in pole position to see this game out.
2,5. Poil tight, hein. Ok. Faut que ce soit en tout cas 2,5, hein. Si on peut pas l'utiliser. Même 3, ça va. Ok.
Over in the skins game, they've just concluded in 6 and nobody won in 6.
Ok.
So that 50 franc rolls over into N7.
Je dirais non, mais. Putain, je suis tellement chaud.
Centre guard there on the final. Again, Peter de Cruz hoping that he can get a half shot from Schwaller's rink. He hopes that they maybe catch it at the wrong angle and then squirt a stone into the rings, move some things around that way.
Ouais. Garde ici.
Unlikely,
Sur le
and
logo,
not
ouais.
this time,
Ouais.
but that is his only chance. He needs a couple of mistakes from Schwaller to let them back into this
Ouais,
game.
une garde sur le
Everyone
logo.
having a look at that, maybe it's not the red stone that's lying short.
Sur le logo, c'est parfait.
Oui, on peut. Hein. Mais c'est une par force. Hein.
Tu l'avais plus dedans?
À toute force, Rettig. Faut juste pas forcer au moins. Il faut forcer.
You could play
Oh,
onto
le garde,
that red.
Garde, c'est bien.
It's meaningless to talk about forcing Yannick Schwaller to pick up a point in this end because
Garde.
that's not what would be happening.
Si j'ai le
Schwaller
mauvais angle,
is
il va
happy
tout
to
casser.
pick up
Donc
1
ça,
point
c'est
at the moment.
pas une bonne option.
But yeah, maybe to try to give yourself the best chance of putting that pressure on, maybe playing up to that red is the best idea.
Il faut en tout cas 2,5, sûr. Hein. Pas moins. Là. Justement là. Easy, easy.
It's got a long way to curl if that's where they're aiming for, though. I don't know if that was a miscommunication or if they changed their mind. Oh, get your head out of the way, everyone. Ooh, that is close, isn't it? Romano-Meyer's looking at the hole right in the middle to see if it's a bit off centre somehow. You definitely could make the double takeout on those two, and then the question becomes meaningless. But if you do, then Peter de Cruz has that guard right in the middle, and then he will go for the centre. So this is the right shot.
Voilà, on doit faire ça avec Tenroll parce qu'on est pas safe.
Let's just remove that centre guard. Again, Peter de Cruz will be hoping that Schwaller catches it at a slightly long angle. And there's that yellow that could maybe spin something back into the house, or let's see. But huge weight coming from Schwaller.
Yep. Easy. Yep.
Il veut de toute façon mettre un, lui.
Keep going. Keep going. Go ahead.
Romana Meyer's already
Hit and roll ou ça?
signalling that it's good before it even hits.
Hein? Lui, enfin, on roule n'importe où, il va de toute façon mettre un. Je pense que je vais mettre un.
Non, mais c'est clair.
Ah oui, d'accord. Quand même 10 maintenant.
Ouais, out.
10 sur 2 tiers.
Looks like they still can't decide.
Ouais,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shrug of the shoulders from Yannick. What do you think?
Hopefully not.
I think soon the question will become meaningless. I think Benoit Schwartz is trying to play red onto yellow, pop the yellow out the back, and he will be lying 2 red at the end of this.
Whoa. Whoa.
And again, really just having to hope for a mistake from Schwaller.
Okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who was closest. They're not anymore.
Un point.
Un point.
And they're trying as hard as they can to Cruz's team. They're working very, very hard to try to give themselves a chance. But unluckily for them, Yannick Schwaller is fine with picking up 1 point here. This isn't really a force. Yes, but Yannick will have to play this shot. He has to pick up 1 point, otherwise he would lose points. There's no option for a blank, but this isn't really a force because Schwaller's quite happy to pick up 1.
Peut-être faut la garder en 1 d'abord, je pense.
Aïe.
C'est faire pousser une maison.
De Cruz's best hope is that
What?
this
He's on it, he's on it.
overcurls
Oui, oui.
and somehow
Bien sûr,
rolls
encore
out.
sur les
But
arbres de l'autre côté.
looks
Hein.
pretty nice to me.
Là-bas.
And no trouble there. So that's 1 yellow.
Bah, enfin.
And that makes the score 6-3 after 7 ends.
Faut choisir le côté gauche.
Advantage, Team Schwaller.
Je vais deux fois dedans, je pense, ouais. Ouais, suivant les hit and roll qu'on a, ouais, il faut garder ça, je pense, ouais.
Ah, tu dis mettre d'abord une et une.
Ouais.
Ah.
Suivant comment sont les angles de la maison.
We've got 1 more end to come then in this final.
Mais bon.
Last game of this year's Baden tournament. The first World Curling Tour tournament of the season here in Europe. We've had some great games this weekend. All of the games we've been watching. And we've been watching the game on sheet 2 every session. And the static cam has been watching sheets 3 and 4 every session. All of those videos are in the video archive on this channel. You can go back and look at a whole bunch of good curling since Friday morning.
Moi, je pense que ça marche pas. Il fait le double pile.
And now we're down to the last end of the final. An extra end is possible. Peter de Cruz needs 3 points to do it. It is possible. But we shall need some magic from de Cruz's team, I think, if that's going to happen today. I wouldn't say that miss in the second end unsettled de Cruz's team, not really, but it just made their life difficult is all. That meant they were never really able to get on top of this game. They were chasing the game from the beginning, and they're still chasing. But as I said, Peter de Cruz known for being uber aggressive, and if anyone can battle their way out of this situation, it would be Peter de Cruz's team. But on the other hand, if anyone can hit their way out of this situation, it would be Yannick Schwaller's team. Very strong in defence, this team. And I fancy taking no chances. Marcel Kleufler's first stone was just ahead of T-line. And this one will be either just front of house or maybe even a freeze up to his own stone. There we are, just front of house. He's had a really strong game, Marcel Koiflet. He's been setting up the ends really nicely for Schwaller, so Schwaller's team never really in a mess this game. As I said, just that one mistake in the second end there put so much pressure on themselves to Cruz's team. They certainly can reflect on themselves that that is most unusual, that putting a stone through the back at the second end like they did. That's a very, very routine situation for these kind of teams, that there's maybe a bunch of stones hanging around in the 12 foot and then your fourth thrower has to draw out of trouble. They can certainly say to themselves, to Cruz's team, that that's almost a once a season mistake. It is unlikely to happen again, but I feel that today it has probably cost them. One more stone then, before the free guard zone is over. Romano pointing up, signalling that he thinks maybe it's got too much weight. He certainly doesn't want it short though. That is coming in a bit chunky.
Avec le in derrière ça. Derrière les rouges.
Moi, je pense à...
Peter de Cruz needing 3 points in this end just to keep the game going, and currently lying 3 against.
Tu veux venir maintenant
As I
derrière?
said, absolutely possible this team can dig themselves out of this.
Ok.
They certainly have the shots to do
bien
it,
derrière
but
celle-là, là.
Schwaller's team really strong in defence and having a very, very strong game out there today as well.
Exactement à la même
For
hauteur
the
que
sake
l'autre
of good
6.
curling, would love to see de Cruz's team pulling three back in this end. But they're going to need a few misses from Schwaller's team, which hasn't really been happening so far.
Ligne bien. Ligne bien.
Ouais, 8-9 c'est très bien. Hein. Aussi. 8-9 alors. 8-9 juste à vous. Attention vol. Oui. Oui. Ouais, ça colle beaucoup. Oui. Encore, go, go, go. Oh, alors bien ici. Ok. Ok.
Ça va, ça va là.
C'est là.
Ah.
It's a good shot from Peter de Cruz. That's exactly what they were looking for. But I do think it's going to be too little too late for, I think, what will be the final time today. Romano Meyer being asked to peel the guards. No trouble for him.
Si tu crois.
Je vais venir ici.
Hein?
Avec le in.
Puis si j'en mets juste une là, 5. Caché là.
Good job, Romano
Elle
Meyer.
sera toujours là, non? C'est chaud, hein, mais... Je dis freeze à l'intérieur, ça? C'est du... Freeze là?
Avec le in ou out? Avec le out. Ça, c'est presque pas possible, je pense.
Yeah, de Cruz needs to use
Et puis lui, il fait ça.
these stones that are already in the house. It's, as I said, it's incredibly
Moi, je suis
difficult
assez
to
fan de juste en jouer une
set
là.
anything
Je
up
pense
for
qu'il va essayer
themselves from
un
here,
hack roulé
really.
là. S'il rate, c'est notre seule chance pour 3 quoi. Juste 5 là.
But they need to try to give themselves a
Ouais, il va
chance.
ouvrir ça.
Puis après, il faudra de toute façon avoir de la réussite quoi.
I'm not quite sure what the decision is. They were tapping
Oh, je
at
fais le
that
hit and roll si
centre
tu veux.
yellow
Mais il faut les garder, je pense.
Non, non, ça nous aide.
on the clockwise handle, but I'm not sure you can get all the way around that red guard
Ouais, c'est bien pour
clockwise
commencer ça.
handle to get to the middle.
Tu viens avec le out?
Ouais, je pense que c'est quand même facile.
Nope, that's not it at all.
Beaucoup plus rapide, je pense, maintenant, là, de toute façon. Bon, quand même. Juste 4-5. Si on peut mordre le 8 pieds, c'est parfait. Ligne bien.
Ok, 4-5.
Ligne bien.
Ligne bien.
No more hits for
Un
Peter
peu
de
de
Cruz's
place.
team. They
Oh.
have to get all their stones counting.
Ligne bien.
Sven devant.
Pas de double.
They do have last
No.
shot in this 8th end.
Val,
Ça,
peut-être.
ça
That
curle
could be
assez,
an
je pense.
Plutôt Val.
advantage.
Ça curle même trop.
Trop, c'est bien.
Whether it will be
Trop,
enough
c'est bien.
advantage to pick
Ok,
up
ok,
3
ok.
points.
Bien joué.
Not too sure.
C'est shot sur l'autre.
On est shot. Oh,
That seems like a nice placement though.
je pensais que c'était clair, mais.
That's safely behind that corner
C'est pas encore
guard.
clair, ça peut faire chier. Ça.
Ok.
Ja,
C'est pour ça que je fais grand-chose, ça, mais.
ja, voll.
So definitely a back to basics approach here.
Ah, c'est sûr, il doit enlever la garde. Là.
No reds, no points.
Non, c'est parfait, comme ça on a pu utiliser cette garde.
Yep.
Ça change rien parce qu'on va
Ça,
tous
c'est
encore jouer.
ça, c'est un clearing, je pense. Putain.
First stone
Ah non, ça passe.
for third throw, Michael Brunner. Ooh, that just squeaked around the guard by nothing. Does its job. Removes one of the reds. Removes that danger.
Bon, tu veux certainement pas. Tu peux jouer ça. Hein.
C'est la semaine.
Ah oui, excuse-moi.
In this situation, actually, in this
Tu veux l'enlever?
8th end, final end,
J'ai
and
l'impression.
one of the teams is
Faut quand même
plus
en enlever
3,
une au bout
you
d'un
might
moment,
even
mais-
have seen them
Pour
maybe
mettre
putting
3, pour
one
mettre 2, oui, mais.
stone in the forefoot,
Attends, je vais quand même regarder ça.
and some teams you would see then throwing their stones through, those yellows hanging around. Not easy for
c'est vraiment
Peter de
possible
Cruz
que ce soit
to
jaune,
make
mais-
something
Moi non plus.
offensive
Moi, j'aime pas les ténors.
for red, but certainly all those yellows hanging around to give him a chance, and that's why sometimes you might even see a team at that point.
Lui, après,
They
il fait
put
le
one
enough,
yellow
il
in
enlève
to
tout.
make
Hein.
sure there's something to keep Peter de Cruz busy, but then they may even throw their next yellow stone through the back because they just don't want any stones in play. They don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
give de
vraiment
Cruz
rien d'autre,
any
j'ai
chance
l'impression,
to nudge
Il
up
faut aller se
against
cacher
something,
quelque
to
part
hide
pour
behind
faire un
something.
Si on est ici, si on veut
The
faire
more
le
stones in
triple
play,
après, ça va jamais dessus.
the
C'est
riskier
pas
it
nous qui allons
is.
faire ce triple, je pense.
Ah,
Ouais.
hein? Si on est ici, prends 2
Non,
tiers,
ça
ça
serait
vole.
bien
Hein.
non plus.
Ciao. Y a
Ouais,
plus
on peut pas.
Ou même une moitié, un tiers, ça part. Ça, on est obligé de la garder
Ouais,
après
c'est sûr.
encore.
Cameron, je pense, ouais. Moi, j'aime bien Cameron. À voir.
Ça, c'est juste Sven, je pense vraiment. Hein.
Sven coming up for a powwow.
Très sûr.
Si on fait ça. Enfin, de toute façon,
As I said, so difficult for de Cruz to
Je crois que c'est jaune qui shot sur la rouge. C'est ça le
hide
problème.
stones or keep stones safe
C'est que ça,
anywhere for this end, but they have to try.
au bout d'un moment, on va devoir faire le double.
So Sven coming up to just understand, right, where do we want to put this? How do we stop Schwaller just kicking them all
On peut
out?
pas juste venir avec le out derrière la rouge, là?
Où exactement? Où? Là?
Pourquoi on peut pas faire ça, en fait?
Ici, on fait comment le double, triple après?
Qu'est-ce qui...
Hein?
Ça, c'est pas bien? Enfin, je pense que c'est la pierre la plus simple, non?
Et après, ça, on fait...
Mais je suis pas sûr qu'on va devoir faire ça. Lui, il fait quoi si on est là? Il va...
Levin asks
enlever
if
la
we think
garde.
Peter de Cruz can do it.
Nous, on doit faire un triple au bout d'un moment.
Levin's
Ouais,
a Schwaller,
on fait Ethan
Schwaller
roll.
supporter. Supporter.
Vraiment, on doit faire le
Levin is a
triple. Ça,
Schwaller
fait sur un autre
supporter.
côté, là. Si on est-
I think they can,
Je crois
Levin,
pas que...
but
Ok. De toute façon, on est
they
mal,
need
mais
a
je veux dire,
mistake
je crois
from
pas
Schwaller
que...
is the point. If
Faut penser sur
Schwaller
ça.
just plays out their next 3 stones, if Schwaller makes their next
Mais
3
le-
shots, they cannot do it. They need a mistake from
Ouais.
Schwaller, and
C'est sûr qu'il fait ça une heure.
Schwaller's team are big hitting. So no matter where, in a way,
Je pense
de
que
Cruz places these stones,
Ouais. Ok.
unless Schwaller makes a mistake, they are not going to manage to get the 3 points they need here, no.
Ouais, exact. 11,5, c'est parfait.
So you do have one of the best teams at stone placement for me in Peter de Cruz, but you do have one of the best teams at defence in Yannick Schwaller,
11,5, 12!
and I just don't see
Douze.
Schwaller's team
Allez, Val.
muffing their next 3 stones to the extent that
Bravo,
de
Val.
Cruz will have enough
Vraiment
of a
fort.
chance.
Bien. Allez, allez! Allez! Continue, 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 continue! Continue! Oui, 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 oui!
So this one wants to hide in behind everything,
Bien joué.
which it does. Good effort, Sven. We have 6 stones to come in this final end of the grand final at the Baden Masters. Peter de Cruz has last stone. That was a really excellent shot from Sven. They are absolutely, as I said, if any team can pull themselves out of this, it is Peter de Cruz. And I would say even from here, Yannick's worst case is an extra end where they will have last shot. I cannot see anything worse happening than that. That's wise move. Let's keep all the play in the house from here on. They are doing everything they can to give themselves a chance. Peter de Cruz's team. And if anyone can pull it off, they can. They are working their socks off to try to at least be lying stones and forcing Yannick to knock them out of the game. Sven up again for a powwow to make sure we're all aligned and we've got the stones in the right place. As I said, Sven in his previous life, or his previous incarnation, when he was skipping a team, Team Sven Michael, they've won this tournament back to back. They did it in 2011 and in 2012. Very much worth listening to what Sven has to say. He knows his tactics as well as anyone. Much discussion then about where this stone needs to end up.
C'est derrière le bouton.
Derrière le bouton. If they are aiming for Sven's first stone, the red at the back, or whether they are aiming for the yellow at the front of the tee, maybe to use that one. And it's neither one nor the other really. The rate of difficulty for these shots is kind of through the roof. Every single stone for de Cruz's team in this end can be neither too long nor too short, and can be neither too wide nor too narrow. That's how precise they really have to be if they want to dig themselves out in this game. It would be a comeback for the ages if they did.
Mit 2/3 bist du perfekt.
Le call,
Halbe ist eine Chance.
c'était la première jaune.
Ouais, exactement. Ouais.
Halbe ist super.
J'ai 8, du coup, je voulais la faire passer derrière.
I do think Yannick can shift both of these reds here. This will be going at full beans as well. Don't hold back. A mighty push out. There again you can see Yannick doesn't give it a push with his arm. That can introduce instability. All that power is coming from his leg drive. And no mistake there. That's all but game over here. De Cruz has 2 more stones, both of which will somehow need to be counting by the end. Our friendly skins game over on sheet 4. They are in their 8th end, and the boys won the 7th end. So let's hope Anna's ladies team can finish with a flourish here.
Yeah. Wait. Yep.
Nice double from Bannwart. Again, they don't have too much choice really, but they do now need Yannick Schwaller to just come out and fall over. If he just removes one of these reds, then de Cruz is out of stones, and that will be the title. And this is a dream finish for Yannick Schwaller. Very happy hitter. this red just has to leave the house and the title is theirs. Okay, nice and steady. No rush of blood to the head. You've got to finish the job. Making sure the whole way very professional, and that's it. Super performance then. Great job from Schwaller. You can hear some, I think it's one particularly big bell in the background. That looks like it might be Papa Meyer again. So popular win there, although in an all-Swiss final. A bit of a win-win situation for the Swiss fans, but really strong performance from Schwaller. All of that leading from that unfortunate miss in the second end, but they absolutely kept their foot on the pedal from there, Schwaller. As I said, Peter de Cruz, they can console themselves that that was a very uncharacteristic mistake and unlikely to happen another time, but still, as I said, that's the margins at this level. That one little mistake and Schwaller's team absolutely ran with it. Running Peter de Cruz finally out of stones. So, congratulations to Schwaller. They retake the trophy that they last time won in 2019. They pick up a big winner's cheque for 12,000 Swiss francs. Peter de Cruz's team can console themselves with a cheque for 8,000 Swiss francs. But I think almost as important is that Schwaller's team maybe have just a little psychological advantage now for that Olympic qualifier. As I said, these two teams will be meeting for the Swiss nomination for the Olympics in Beijing in 22. And that could be advantage Schwaller. That's an important win for them. They'll be feeling on top of their game and in good mood. And they are the champions here in Baden at the first World Curling Tour event. Levin, our Schwaller fan, he's happy. Got a little party hat on. And congratulations from Clockbasher. So thank you everyone for joining us. You can keep up with the Friendly Skins game on the static cam. They're in their 8th end. Thank you for joining us all weekend. We will be back in Baden in a couple... Sorry, no, we are in Baden. We will be back in Adelboden in a couple of weeks' time for the second edition of the Men's Invitational there, where a lot of the teams you've seen this weekend will be in action there as well. So do join us for that. Thank you for your company all weekend, and bye for now.
Aargau Topsport und Tele1 präsentieren die 21. Ausgabe vom Baden Masters vom 20. bis zum 22. August. Die amtierende Olympiasiegerin bei den Damen, Anna Hasselborg aus Schweden, fordert die Herren-Weltelite raus. Das hat es noch nie gegeben. Können die amtierenden Herren-Weltmeister aus Schweden ihren Titel verteidigen? Wie halten die Schweizer Top-Teams mit? Girling-Weltklasse von den Damen und den Herren direkt vor der Haustür. Das Baden Masters wird präsentiert vom Swisslos Sportfonds Aargau, VZOG, dem Schweizer Haushaltsgerätehersteller und der Walde Immobilien AG, die Mensch und Immobilien zusammenbringen.